The council chamber was massive. 300 alien species filled the seats. Their eyes watched a single human standing in the center. Commander Sarachin stood alone. Her uniform was clean and pressed. Her face showed no emotion. Her hands did not shake. The Velcrin ambassador rose from his seat. His purple skin glowed under the lights. He looked at Sarah and laughed. It was a cruel sound that echoed through the chamber. Other aliens joined the laughter. The sound grew louder and louder. Sarah did not move. She waited. The laughter stopped. The Velcrin ambassador spoke. His voice was full of mockery. You want us to believe that humans can fight. You want a seat on this council. You want protection under galactic law. He paused and smiled. But what have you done to earn this? An alien from the back shouted. Humans are weak. Their planet is small. Their technology is primitive. More voices joined in. They have no natural weapons. They have no thick skin. They cannot even breathe in most atmospheres. Sarah finally spoke. Her voice was calm and clear. We have survived on a death world for millions of years. We have built civilizations from nothing. We have split the atom and touched the stars. We ask only for a chance to prove ourselves. The chamber exploded with laughter again. The Zrathi admiral stood up. He was huge and covered in scales. His species had won 1,000 wars. He looked down at Sarah like she was an insect. Prove yourselves. He laughed harder. You cannot even defeat a single scout ship. Why should we waste our time with your pathetic species? Sarah's eyes turned cold. Her voice dropped lower. Give us a test then. Any test. Any challenge. We will show you what humans are made of. The Zrathi admiral's smile grew wider. He looked at the other council members. They nodded. He turned back to Sarah. Very well, little human. We accept. My fleet will come to your system in 2 days. We will destroy your entire defense force. When you lose, you will accept that humanity has no place among the stars. You will go back to your little planet and never leave again. Sarah looked straight into his eyes. She did not blink. She did not look away. And when we win, the entire chamber erupted in laughter. The Zrathi admiral could barely speak through his amusement. If you win, if you somehow defeat my fleet, then humanity will have earned its place here. But you will not win. No one defeats the Zrathi armada. Sarah nodded once. Then we have an agreement. 2 days. Your fleet against ours. The Zrathi admiral waved his hand dismissively. It will not even take 1 day. We will crush you in hours. Go back to your ships. Prepare your people for defeat. Tell them that they challenged gods and lost. Sarah turned to leave. The aliens whispered and laughed behind her. They made jokes about weak humans. They placed bets on how fast the battle would end. None of them took the challenge seriously. As Sarah walked through the long hallway, her footsteps echoed in the silence. Her second officer waited by the ship. He saw her face and knew something had changed. Commander, what happened? Sarah looked up at the stars through the window. Her voice was quiet, but filled with something dangerous. They laughed at us. They mocked everything we are. They think we are nothing. The officer's hand moved to his weapon. What do we do? Sarah smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was a smile of a predator that had been underestimated for too long. We show them what happens when you make humans angry. Contact the fleet. Tell them to move to Protocol Omega. Tell them the Zrathi are coming. And tell them one more thing. What is that, Commander? Sarah's eyes burned with determination. Tell them it is time to remind the galaxy why Earth is called a death world. Tell them we fight, and we do not lose. Sarah's ship moved through space toward the human fleet. Inside the command center, her officers worked in silence. Everyone knew what was coming. Everyone understood the stakes. Captain Rodriguez stood at the main screen, watching the stars pass by. He turned when Sarah entered the room. Commander, the fleet is ready. All 200 ships are in position, but Admiral Zrathi are bringing 5,000 ships. He paused and his voice became quieter. How could we possibly win this? Sarah walked to the center console and pressed a button. A hologram appeared showing both fleets. She pointed to the Zrathi formation. They have 5,000 ships. They have superior numbers. They have bigger weapons. but they have one fatal weakness. What weakness, Commander? Sarah looked at her officers. They believe they have already won. They think we are no threat. That arrogance will destroy them. Rodriguez nodded slowly. What is the plan? Sarah pulled up another screen. This one showed Earth's military academy. For 50 years we have studied every alien battle. We analyzed every tactic. We learned from every victory and every defeat. The aliens share their battle records freely because they never thought we would use them. But we did. We found the pattern. We found how they think. We found how they move. And we found their weakness. A young pilot named Marcus stepped forward. His uniform was new. His eyes were bright with determination. What did we find, Commander? Sarah smiled. Aliens fight for honor. They fight in formations. They follow rules that are thousands of years old. They believe war is a noble art. She paused and her smile grew colder. But humans did not evolve that way. We evolved as hunters on a planet that tried to kill us every single day. We learned to be unpredictable. We learned to use deception. We learned that survival matters more than honor. The room was completely silent. Every officer listened to each word. Sarah continued. The Zrathi will come in their traditional battle formation. They will announce themselves. They will give us time to prepare. They will fight according to their ancient codes. She looked at each person in the room. We will do none of those things. We strike first. We strike hard. We strike where they do not expect. And we do not stop until they are gone. But Commander, Rodriguez hesitated. That is not how galactic warfare works. There are rules, protocols. Sarah's voice became sharp as steel. They laughed at us. They mocked our entire species. They came to our system to destroy us. She leaned forward. I do not care about their rules anymore. We play to win. Nothing else matters. Marcus spoke up again. What about the secret weapon? The one the engineers have been building. Sarah nodded. The Prometheus. It is ready. But that is our last option. First we use what they do not expect. Our speed. Our tactics. Our ability to think like predators instead of soldiers. An old veteran named Captain Williams walked to the front. He had gray hair and scars on his face. He had fought in the colony wars. He had seen things that would break normal people. Commander Chen is right. I have studied human history. We have always been underestimated. The British thought the American colonies would fall in weeks. The Nazis thought Russia would collapse in months. Every empire that thought humans were weak learned the same lesson. She pointed to the display. We are survivors. When they push us, we push back harder. The officers began to nod. The fear in the room changed into something else. Determination, anger, purpose. Sarah pulled up the tactical display. Here is what we do. First wave hits their command ships. No warning. No declaration. Just pure strike capability. Second wave targets their communication relays. We blind them. Third wave splits their formation. We make them panic. She traced lines on the hologram. Aliens have never fought an enemy that attacks like this. They will not know how to respond. That confusion is our advantage. Rodriguez studied the plan. His eyes widened. Commander, this is brilliant, but it requires perfect timing. One mistake, and we lose everything. Sarah looked at him directly. Then we do not make mistakes. We train for 18 more hours. Every pilot runs the simulation 50 times. Every gunner practices until they can shoot in their sleep. Every engineer checks every system twice. She raised her voice so everyone could hear. In 36 hours the Zrathi fleet arrives. They expect to find weak, frightened humans. Instead, they will find something they have never seen before. They will find Earth's warriors. The officers stood straighter. Marcus saluted. For Earth Commander. Sarah returned the salute. For Earth. For humanity. For everyone who was ever told they were not good enough. The crew moved to their stations. The preparation began. Ships ran drills. Weapons were tested. Pilots practiced formations that aliens had never seen. In the engine rooms, engineers made final adjustments to systems that pushed physics to its limit. Williams approached Sarah privately. Commander, do you really think we can win? Sarah watched her fleet through the window. The ships moved in perfect coordination. Each one represented humanity's best technology. Each crew had trained for years. She thought about Earth, about billions of people who trusted them, about children who deserved a future among the stars. She turned to Williams. Her voice was absolutely certain. We have to win. Failure is not an option. Those aliens think we are prey. Tomorrow we show them that humans are not prey. She paused. We are the hunters. Williams smiled. It was a grim smile, a warrior smile. Then let us hunt, Admiral. Across the fleet, the same conversation happened on every ship. Fear turned into resolve. Doubt turned into determination. The human fleet prepared for battle. They checked weapons. They reviewed tactics. They said prayers to gods old and new. They wrote final messages to families just in case. But in their hearts, they all believed the same thing. Tomorrow they would show the galaxy what humans really were. Tomorrow the Zrathi would learn why you never mock Earth. Tomorrow the universe would change forever. The Zrathi fleet appeared at the edge of human space. 5,000 warships moved in perfect formation. Each ship was massive and covered in weapons. The flagship was largest of all. Admiral Kress stood on his command deck. His scales gleamed under the bright lights. His officers worked at their stations with calm efficiency. Kress looked at the view screen and smiled. Where are the humans? Why do they not show themselves? His second officer checked the sensors. Admiral, we detect nothing. No ships. No defenses. No signals. It appears they have fled. Kress laughed. A deep rumbling sound that filled the bridge. Of course they fled. They finally understood what they face. Weak, pathetic creatures. He turned to his weapons officer. Scan the third planet. We will destroy their orbital stations first. Let them watch from their dirt ball as we take everything they built. The weapons officer began to scan. Admiral, I am reading. His voice stopped. His face changed color. Admiral, there is something wrong. What is wrong, officer? The sensor screen exploded with alerts. Hundreds of red dots appeared. They were close. Too close. Ships, Admiral. Human ships. They are right on top of us. How did they get so close without? Kreth's eyes widened. All ships raised shields. Battle stations. He grabbed his command chair. Where did they come from? No one answered because at that moment the human fleet attacked. Sarah's voice cut through every human ship. All units. Fire. 200 ships opened fire at once. But they were not what Zrathi expected. They had used experimental stealth technology. They had hidden in the shadow of a nearby moon. They had waited in complete silence. And now they struck like vipers. The first volley hit the Zrathi command ships. 20 vessels exploded in the first 5 seconds. Debris scattered across space. The perfect formation shattered. Alarm screamed on every Zrathi ship. Kreth grabbed his console as his flagship shook. Report. What is happening? The tactical officer's hands flew across the controls. We have lost the entire forward command group. The humans appeared from nowhere. Their weapons are... He stopped and stared at the screen. Admiral, their weapons are targeting our exact weak points. How do they know where to hit us? Because we studied you. Sarah's voice came through the Zrathi communication system. Every alien on every ship heard her words. We watched every battle you ever fought. We analyzed every tactic. We found every weakness. You thought we were primitives. You were wrong. Kreth roared in anger. All ships, turn and engage. Kill them. Kill them all. But the human ships were already moving. They did not move like any fleet the Zrathi had seen. They split into small groups. They attacked from multiple angles. They moved faster than should be possible. Alien gunners tried to target them, but the humans were always somewhere else. Marcus flew his fighter through the chaos. His hands moved across the controls with perfect precision. He dove under a Zrathi cruiser and fired. His missile struck the engine core. The cruiser exploded. He pulled up and immediately engaged another target. His wingman spoke through the radio. Marcus, you have 4 bogeys on your tail. Marcus smiled. Watch this. He pushed his fighter into a spin that would kill most pilots. The G-forces crushed against his body. His vision started to blur. But he held on. He came out of the spin facing his pursuers. He fired. All 4 enemy fighters exploded. On the human flagship, Rodriguez watched the battle display. Command of the first wave was perfect. We destroyed 30% of their command structure. They are in complete disarray. Sarah's face showed no emotion. Second wave. Target their communication relays. Blind them. 50 human ships broke from the main group. They flew directly at the Zrathi communication vessels. These ships were lightly armed but heavily shielded. The Zrathi used them to coordinate their massive fleet. The Zrathi tried to protect them. They moved cruisers to intercept. But the humans were too fast. They slipped through gaps in the formation. They used the debris from destroyed ships as cover. They reached their targets. The communication ships exploded one after another. Suddenly, the Zrathi fleet could not talk to each other. Captains screamed orders, but no one heard. Ships crashed into each other trying to maneuver. The perfect coordination disappeared. Kreth watched his fleet fall apart. His ship had been hit 3 times. Fires burned on 2 decks. His shields were failing. He could not believe what he was seeing. This is impossible. They are just humans. They cannot be doing this. His tactical officer looked up with fear in his eyes. Admiral, we have lost 2,000 ships. The humans have lost only 15. We need to retreat. Kreth's pride would not allow it. No, we outnumber them. We are stronger. We are. Another explosion rocked the ship. Kreth fell to the floor. Blood ran from a cut on his head. He pulled himself up. All remaining ships. Focus fire on their flagship. Kill their commander. Without her, they will fall apart. But Sarah had expected this. Commander, they are targeting us. All weapons locked on our position. Sarah smiled coldly. Third wave. Execute. The remaining human ships suddenly accelerated. They moved between the Zrathi fleet and Sarah's flagship. They formed a moving wall of steel. Every shot the Zrathi fired hit human ships that dodged at the last second. Not one shot reached the flagship. And while the Zrathi focused on Sarah, the human ships tore them apart. Human weapons never missed. Human pilots never hesitated. Human captains made decisions in seconds that took aliens minutes. Captain Williams destroyed 12 ships by himself. His cruiser was old, but he knew every trick. He used asteroids for cover. He lured enemies into traps. He fired from angles that should be impossible. Each time his Zrathi ship exploded, he said the same thing. That is for laughing at us. Marcus ran out of missiles. He switched to guns. His fighters screamed through space. He targeted weak points. Engine cores. Shield generators. Weapon systems. Each burst was perfectly placed. Each shot counted. On every human ship, the crew worked as one mind. Gunners fired. Engineers rerouted power. Pilots pushed their ships beyond normal limits. They did not think about the odds. They did not think about fear. They thought about Earth, about home, about proving that humanity belonged among the stars. Kreth's flagship was dying. Half his crew was dead. His shields were gone. His weapons were offline. He watched the human fleet tear through his forces like they were nothing. 4,000 ships reduced to 2,000 in less than an hour. His officer spoke quietly. Admiral, we must retreat. We have already lost. If we stay, we all die. Kreth's hands shook. His voice was barely a whisper. How? How are they doing this? Sarah's voice answered him. Because you underestimated us. Because you thought technology and numbers were everything. She paused. You forgot that humans are survivors. We are fighters. We are the species that climbed to the top of a death world by being smarter and tougher than everything that tried to kill us. Kreth fell to his knees. The great Zrathi admiral, victor of 1,000 battles, defeated by a species he thought was weak. Sarah's next words were ice cold. You wanted to test humanity. Congratulations, Admiral. You passed our test. You showed us exactly how much respect the galaxy has for Earth. Now we show you what happens when you make that mistake. Kreth reached for his communications. He tried to call for reinforcements. He tried to order retreat, but his communications were destroyed. He looked at the view screen. The human ships regrouped. They formed a new attack pattern. They were coming for him. Sarah's voice came one last time. "This is not over, Admiral. We are just getting started." Kreth understood then. He had not just lost a battle. He had awakened something the galaxy had never seen before. He had made humans angry. And angry humans were the most dangerous thing in the universe. The Zrathi fleet tried to regroup. They still had nearly 2,000 ships. The humans had lost only 30 vessels. Admiral Kreth pulled himself up from the floor. Blood covered his uniform. His bridge was filled with smoke and sparks. But he was still alive. He was still in command. Status report. Give me numbers. His tactical officer worked frantically at the damaged console. "Admiral, we have lost 3,000 ships. Communication is scattered. Formations are broken. Many captains are trying to retreat." Kreth slammed his fist on the command chair. "No retreat. We still outnumber them 10-1. Reform the battle line. Concentrate all fire on single targets. We will overwhelm them with pure firepower." The officer hesitated. "Admiral, with respect, that tactic has not worked. The humans are fighting unlike any species we have encountered. They do not follow standard warfare protocols. They are unpredictable. Kreth roared, "They are primitives. Lucky primitives. Now follow my orders." Across space on the human flagship, Rodriguez studied the enemy formation. Command of the Zrathi are regrouping. They are forming a standard defensive wall. Heavy ships in front. Support vessels behind. It is textbook galactic warfare. Sarah looked at the display. Her eyes were calculating. Predictable. They are doing exactly what their training tells them to do. She turned to her tactical team. What would an unpredictable species do against a defensive wall? A young lieutenant spoke up nervously. "Go around it, Commander." Sarah smiled. "Exactly. All ships. Sphere formation Delta. We go through their flanks and hit them from every direction at once." The human fleet split into 6 groups. Each group moved at different speeds. Each took different paths. The Zrathi sensors tracked them but could not predict where they would strike. It looked like chaos. It looked like the humans had no plan. But it was the opposite. Every human captain knew exactly what to do. They had trained for this. They had practiced coordination without communication. They moved like a wolf pack hunting prey. Kreth watched the human ship scatter. He laughed despite his pain. "Look, they panic. They run in all directions. All ships, pick your targets. Destroy them one by one." The Zrathi began firing. Their massive weapons lit up space. Beams of energy crossed the darkness. Missiles streaked toward human ships. The firepower was overwhelming, enough to destroy a planet. But the humans were not there anymore. Every ship dodged at the exact right moment. The Zrathi weapons hit empty space, or friendly ships. Confusion spread through the alien fleet. Marcus dug his fighter under a Zrathi destroyer. He was so close he could see the hull plating. His radio crackled. "Marcus, what are you doing?" "You are inside their minimum firing range." Marcus grinned. "That is the point. They cannot shoot what they cannot target." He flew along the destroyer's underside. His guns fired in continuous bursts. He targeted the shield generators. One by one they exploded. The destroyer's shields collapsed. A human cruiser appeared above and fired. The destroyer broke apart. On another part of the battlefield, Captain Williams faced 5 Zrathi cruisers. His ship was damaged. His shields were at 20%. His weapons officer looked at him with worry. "Captain, we should fall back. We cannot take all 5. Williams shook his head. "That is what they expect. Helm, take us straight at them. Full speed. Sir, that is suicide." Williams smiled. "It is suicide if we follow their rules. But we are human. We do not play by their rules. Helm, now." The ship accelerated directly at the enemy formation. The Zrathi captains were confused. No sane commander would charge 5 ships alone. They hesitated. That hesitation cost them everything. Williams's ship flew between 2 cruisers. His guns fired to both sides. He hit their bridge sections. Both ships lost command control. They drifted helplessly. Williams looped around and destroyed their engines. 2 ships down. The remaining 3 Zrathi ships turned to follow. But Williams had led them into a trap. 3 human destroyers appeared from behind an asteroid. They fired simultaneously. The Zrathi ships never had a chance. Williams keyed his radio. "This is Captain Williams. Sector 7 clear. Moving to Sector 9. Sarah heard the report. She saw Williams's tactic displayed on her screen. She spoke to all human ships. "All captains, you see what Williams just did? That is how we fight. We think. We adapt. We use their expectations against them. Keep moving. Keep them guessing. Make them fear what comes next." Across the human fleet, every captain understood. They began using tactics that made no sense to the aliens. They flew in impossible patterns. They attacked from directions that should be undefendable. They broke every rule of galactic warfare. And it worked. The Zrathi fleet fell apart. Ships collided. Friendly fire increased. Captains gave contradictory orders. Panic spread like fire. On a Zrathi support vessel, the Velkrin captain, who had laughed at Sarah, watched the screen in horror. He spoke to his crew in a shaking voice. "What are they? How can they fight like this?" His science officer pulled up biological data on humans. "Captain, Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world. Only 0.03% of planets are that dangerous. Humans evolved alongside predators that could kill them instantly. They developed advanced pattern recognition, rapid decision-making, pack hunting strategies." He looked up with fear in his eyes. "Captain, humans are apex predators. We invited apex predators to a fight." The Velkrin captain felt his blood turn cold. He understood now. The galaxy had made a terrible mistake. They judged humanity by their technology, by their size, by their numbers. They never asked what kind of world created them. They never wondered what it took to survive on Earth. Now they knew, and it was too late. Marcus flew through a debris field. His fighter was damaged, but still flying. He saw a young Zrathi pilot trying to escape. The alien ship was crippled. No weapons, no shields, just a scared kid trying to survive. Marcus could have destroyed him easily. His finger touched the trigger. Then he stopped. He opened a channel. "Zrathi pilot, power down your weapons. Eject from your ship. You will be recovered safely." The Zrathi pilot's voice was terrified. "You will kill me. Everyone knows humans are monsters." Marcus's voice was calm. "We are not monsters. We are survivors. There is a difference. Now eject. That is an order." The Zrathi pilot ejected. Marcus marked the location for recovery ships. He moved on to the next target. Sarah saw the exchange. She spoke quietly to Rodriguez. "Make sure all pilots know. We disable when possible. We kill when necessary. We are not like the ones who mocked us. We are better." Rodriguez nodded with respect. "Yes, Commander." The battle continued. Hour after hour, the humans pushed forward. They were outnumbered but never outthought. They were outgunned but never outmaneuvered. Every tactic the Zrathi tried failed. Every formation they used crumbled. Kretha's flagship was barely functional. Most of his fleet was destroyed or retreating. He had one option left, one final weapon. He reached for the communications panel. That still worked. His voice was filled with hate and desperation. "Activate the world breaker. Bring it through the jump gate. End this now." His officer's face went pale. "Admiral, the world breaker is forbidden in normal warfare. It violates 17 galactic treaties. If we use it..." Kreth screamed, "I do not care about treaties. These humans have destroyed everything. My fleet, my reputation, my honor." He pointed at the view screen. "Bring the world breaker. Let them face a weapon that can crack planets. Let them understand true power." Deep in space, a massive jump gate activated. Energy swirled. Space itself bent and twisted. Something enormous began to emerge. Something that made every other ship look tiny. On the human flagship, alarm screamed. Rodriguez's face went white. "Commander, we are detecting a massive energy signature. Something is coming through the Zrathi jump gate. The readings are..." He stopped. His voice dropped to a whisper. "Commander, it is 3 times the size of our largest ship. Its power output is off the scale. Sarah watched the gate. She saw the massive shape begin to appear. She had read about weapons like this. Planet killers. Dreadnoughts. Ships that should never be used in normal warfare. Her crew looked at her, waiting, hoping, afraid. Sarah took a deep breath. She thought about Earth, about billions of people trusting her, about humanity's place in the stars. She made her decision. Activate Protocol Omega. Bring in the Prometheus. Every officer turned to look at her. The secret weapon. The ship they had built in complete secrecy. The vessel that broke every rule of physics. Rodriguez spoke quietly. Commander, we have never tested it in actual combat. We do not know if it will work. Sarah's eyes were hard as steel. Then we are about to find out. Contact Marcus. Tell him he just volunteered for the most important mission in human history. The World Breaker emerged from the jump gate. It was massive beyond description, 3 kilometers long, covered in weapons that could destroy cities. Its hull was dark metal that absorbed light. Energy shields surrounded it like a glowing cocoon. Every ship near it looked like toys. Kreth watched it appear on his screen. Despite his injuries, he smiled. Now humans, now you will understand what real power looks like. He opened communications to the World Breaker. Commander Thrax, destroy the human flagship. Show them what happens when primitives challenge their betters. The World Breaker's commander responded. His voice was deep and cold. With pleasure, Admiral. Charging main weapons. Target locked. Firing in 60 seconds. On Sarah's ship, alarms screamed louder. Rodriguez worked frantically at his console. Commander, that ship's main weapon has enough power to punch through our shields like paper. If it fires, we are dead. The entire fleet is dead. Sarah remained calm. Where is the Prometheus? Rodriguez checked another screen. Still in the asteroid field. Hidden. Waiting for your signal. Sarah pressed a button. Her voice went out on a secure channel. Marcus, are you ready? Marcus sat in the cockpit of the Prometheus. The ship around him hummed with power. Systems he barely understood glowed and pulsed. The entire vessel felt alive, felt dangerous. He took a deep breath. As ready as I will ever be, Commander. But I have to ask, are you sure this thing will work? Sarah's voice was honest. No, but it is our only chance. The Prometheus uses technology we reverse-engineered from 6 different alien species. We combined it in ways no one has tried before. The engineers say it should work. The scientists say it is impossible. She paused. I say it is time to prove that humans make the impossible real. Marcus looked at the controls. The Prometheus was unlike any ship ever built. It was small, fast, and it had one weapon. A weapon that used the ship itself as a delivery system. He would have one shot, one chance. If he missed, humanity would lose everything. He thought about Earth, about his family, about every human who ever looked up at the stars and dreamed. He smiled. For Earth Commander, let us show them what we can do. Sarah's voice was filled with pride. Good hunting, Marcus. All ships, clear a path to the World Breaker. Give the Prometheus room to work. The human fleet moved as one. They stopped attacking the smaller Zrathi ships. Every vessel turned toward the massive dreadnought. They spread out, creating a corridor through space. A path straight to the target. Kreth watched the humans move. He laughed. Look, they think they can face the World Breaker. They fly toward it like insects to a flame. Let them come. Let them die. The World Breaker's weapons began to glow. Energy built up in the massive cannons. Space itself seemed to warp around them. The countdown continued. 40 seconds. 30 seconds. 20 seconds. Sarah gave the command. Marcus, go. The Prometheus shot out from the asteroid field. It moved faster than any ship the Zrathi had ever seen. It was a blur of silver light. 1 second it was hidden. The next second it was halfway across the battlefield. Kreth's eyes widened. What is that? Where did that ship come from? His tactical officer could barely track it. Unknown vessel, Admiral. Speed is... He stopped and checked his readings again. Admiral, that is impossible. No ship can move that fast without tearing itself apart. Kreth screamed into his communicator. World Breaker. New target. Destroy that small ship. Forget the flagship. Kill that thing now. Commander Thrax tried to redirect his weapons, but the World Breaker was built to destroy planets, not to track fast-moving targets. His gunners fired. Massive beams of energy lanced out. Each one could vaporize a city. Marcus dodged. The Prometheus twisted and turned through space. Energy beams passed so close his shield sparked. Alarms screamed in his cockpit. His body was crushed by G-forces. Normal pilots would have blacked out, but Marcus had trained his entire life for this moment. He dove under a beam, rolled past another, accelerated through the gap between two more. Every movement was perfect. Every decision was instant. He flew like he was born in space. Williams watched from his ship. His voice was filled with awe. Look at him fly. That kid is the best pilot humanity has ever produced. Rodriguez tracked Marcus on his screen. Commander, he is almost there. But the World Breaker's shields are too strong. Even the Prometheus cannot punch through them. Sarah's voice was calm. He does not need to punch through. He just needs to get close enough. Marcus was now only 1 kilometer from the World Breaker. Its massive hull filled his view screen. Weapons fired at him from every angle. His shields were failing. Damage alerts flashed red. His ship was dying. But he was close enough. He armed the weapon. The Prometheus began to glow. Energy built up inside it. Not a normal weapon. Something else. Something that should not exist. Marcus spoke calmly despite the chaos. Commander Chun, I am in position. Initiating final sequence. Sarah closed her eyes for 1 second. She thought about the young pilot who volunteered, who smiled even in the face of death, who represented everything good about humanity. Marcus, it has been an honor serving with you. Marcus smiled. The honor is mine, Commander. Tell Earth. Tell everyone. We showed them all what humans can do. He pressed a button. The Prometheus exploded with light, but it was not destroyed. It transformed. The ship became pure energy. It moved faster than thought, faster than light itself. The laws of physics bent around it. The World Breaker's shields meant nothing. The Prometheus passed through them like they were not there. It struck the Dreadnought's core, the exact center, the place where all power originated. For 1 second, nothing happened. Space was silent. Every ship stopped moving. Every weapon stopped firing. Everyone watched. Then the World Breaker exploded. Not a normal explosion. This was something beyond comprehension. Light filled the entire sector. Energy waves spread in all directions. The massive dreadnought broke apart. 3 kilometers of metal and weapons and shields. Gone. Reduced to atoms. The shockwave hit every nearby ship. Zrathi vessels were thrown backward. Their shields collapsed. Their systems overloaded. Hundreds of ships went dark, floating dead in space. The human ships survived. Their shields held. Sarah had positioned them perfectly, far enough to avoid the worst damage, close enough to press the advantage. Kref watched his ultimate weapon die. His voice was barely a whisper. No, this cannot be happening. What was that ship? What did the humans do? Rodriguez was checking his sensors frantically. Commander, the Prometheus. I am not reading any debris. No wreckage. No signature. Sarah's heart clenched. Marcus. She hoped. She prayed. But deep down she knew. The weapon had worked. But at what cost? Then a signal appeared on her screen. Weak. Barely there. But present. She grabbed her communicator. Marcus. Marcus respond. Static filled the channel. Then a weak voice. A tired voice. But alive. Commander. This is Marcus. I am here. The Prometheus had an escape pod. Experimental design. I got out just before the transformation. I am beat up. My pod is damaged. But I am alive. The entire bridge sheared. Sarah felt tears in her eyes, but she did not let them fall. Get a recovery team to his position. Priority 1. Bring him home. She looked at the battlefield. The World Breaker was gone. The Zrathi fleet was broken, half destroyed, half fleeing, half surrendering. It was over. She opened communications to all ships, all Zrathi vessels. This is Commander Sarachin of Earth. You came to destroy us. You thought we were weak. You were wrong. Stand down. Power down your weapons. Surrender, and you will be treated with respect. Continue fighting, and you will share the fate of the World Breaker. Across the Zrathi fleet, the response was immediate. Ship after ship went dark. Weapons powered down. Shields dropped. They had no fight left. They had faced something they never imagined. They had faced humanity at war. And they had lost. Kreth sat in his ruined command chair. His fleet was gone. His reputation was destroyed. His pride was shattered. He reached for the communicator with a shaking hand. Human commander. Aye, he stopped. What could he say? What words existed for this? Sarah's voice was not cruel, but it was not kind either. Admiral Kreth, you wanted to test humanity. Congratulations. You have your answer. Now you will face the consequences of your arrogance. Kreth nodded slowly. He understood. His military career was over. His honor was gone. He would spend the rest of his life remembered as the admiral who underestimated Earth, the fool who awakened the predators. Sarah turned to Rodriguez. Contact the Galactic Council. Tell them the battle is over. Tell them Earth won. Tell them we await their response. Rodriguez smiled. Yes, Commander. What do you think they will say? Sarah looked at the stars, at the debris field, at the hundreds of disabled alien ships, at her own fleet, damaged but victorious. She thought about Marcus floating in his pod, about Williams and his impossible tactics, about every human who fought today. She smiled. I think they will say what everyone should have said from the beginning. She paused. Welcome to the galaxy, humanity. We underestimated you. We will never make that mistake again. The Galactic Council chamber was silent. 300 alien species sat in their seats. Every eye watched the massive holographic display. The battle footage played again and again. 5,000 Zrathi ships. 200 human ships. The impossible victory. The Velcrin ambassador, who had laughed at Sarah, now stood with his head lowered. His purple skin had lost its glow. His voice shook when he spoke. I move that we immediately grant Earth full membership in the Galactic Council. All in favor. Every hand rose. Every voice said yes. Not one dissent. Not one objection. The vote was unanimous. The council leader stood. He was an ancient being from a species that had existed for 10,000 years. His voice carried wisdom and regret. Send word to Commander Chun. Tell her Earth is welcome. Tell her we were wrong. Tell her. He paused and his voice became quieter. Tell her we are sorry. On the human flagship, Sarah received a message. She read it carefully. Rodriguez stood beside her. Commander, we won. Not just the battle. We won our place among the stars. Sarah nodded slowly. Yes, but at what cost? She looked at the casualty reports. 80 human ships damaged, 30 destroyed, 2,000 crew members dead, heroes who would never see Earth again. She closed her eyes. Victory always has a price. A medic entered the bridge. Commander, Marcus has been recovered. He is injured but stable. He is asking to see you. Sarah walked quickly to the medical bay. Marcus lay on a bed. His body was covered in bruises. His arm was in a cast. But he was smiling. That same bright smile he always had. Marcus. Sarah's voice was soft. You did the impossible today. Marcus laughed and then winced in pain. We all did, Commander. Every single person on every ship. We showed them. He looked at her seriously. Commander, did we really win? Sarah sat beside his bed. Yes, Marcus. Earth has been granted full council membership, protected status, respected status. No one will ever mock humanity again. She smiled. You made that possible. Marcus closed his eyes. His voice was tired. Good. That is good. He opened his eyes again. Commander, what happens now? Sarah looked out the window at the stars. Now we go home. We tell Earth what happened here. We honor those who fell. And we prepare for whatever comes next. The galaxy knows about us now. They know what we can do. Some will respect us. So will fear us. She stood up. Either way, we are no longer alone. We are no longer the weak species everyone can ignore. 1 year passed. The human fleet returned to Earth as heroes. Parades filled the streets. Statues were built. Stories were told. Marcus recovered from his injuries and became an instructor at the military academy. Williams retired and wrote a book about human tactics. Rodriguez was promoted to admiral. And Sarah stood before the Galactic Council as Earth's official representative. She wore her uniform with pride, the same uniform she wore when they laughed at her. But no one was laughing now. The council session was about military training. Several alien species wanted to learn human tactics. They wanted to understand how Earth won. Sarah agreed to establish a joint training program. Young recruits from dozens of worlds came to Earth. They walked on the death world that created humanity. They felt the gravity. They saw the predators. They understood why humans fought the way they did. Sarah stood before a class of 50 alien recruits. They looked at her with respect and fear. She began her lesson. Many species asked me the same question. How did humans defeat the Zrathi? How did 200 ships destroy 5,000? The answer is simple but hard to understand. A young Zrathi raised his hand. His scales were bright green. His species had changed after the battle. They were no longer arrogant, no longer cruel. He spoke carefully. Commander Chun, please tell us. We want to learn. Sarah smiled at him. The kindness in her expression surprised the recruits. We won because we think differently. Most species in the galaxy evolved on safe worlds. Worlds with few predators, few disasters, few challenges. She walked between the seats. You learn to cooperate, to follow rules, to fight with honor. These are good things, noble things. She stopped and her voice became harder. But Earth was different. Earth tried to kill us every single day. Predators hunted us. Diseases attacked us. Weather destroyed us. Earthquakes, volcanoes, floods, droughts. Everything on our planet wanted us dead. She looked at each recruit. So we learned to survive. We learned to adapt. We learned that honor does not matter if you are dead. Victory is all that matters. Survival is all that matters. Another recruit raised a tentacle. A Velcrin. He spoke nervously. Commander, were you scared during the battle? Sarah appreciated his honesty. Terrified. Every single moment. Fear is natural. Fear keeps you alert, keeps you careful. She leaned forward. But humans learn something important about fear. We learn that being afraid does not mean you stop. It means you keep going despite the fear. We learn that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting even when you are terrified. The Zrathi recruit spoke again. Commander, will you teach us to fight like humans? Sarah shook her head. No, I will teach you to think like humans. Fighting is easy. Thinking is hard. She pulled up a holographic display. It showed the battle. Watch here. The Zrathi formed a defensive wall. Standard tactic. Good tactic. But predictable. She pointed. We went around it. We attacked from 6 directions. We made them defend everywhere at once. Why did this work? A recruit from an insect species clicked his mandibles. Because you did not follow the rules. Sarah smiled. Exactly. War has no rules. War is chaos. The species that embraces chaos. That adapts to chaos. That thrives in chaos. Those species win. She looked at them all. Your species learn to fight in organized ways. Humans learn to fight in survival ways. Neither is wrong. But in certain situations, our way works better. The class continued for hours. Sarah taught them about deception, about unpredictability, about using enemy expectations against them, about the importance of morale, about fighting smart instead of fighting hard. At the end, a recruit asked one final question. Commander Chun, do you think humans are the strongest species in the galaxy? Sarah thought carefully before answering. No, many species are stronger. Many have better technology, better weapons, bigger fleets. She looked out the window at Earth. But humans have something else. We have the will to never give up, ever. You can destroy our ships. You can defeat our armies. You can occupy our worlds. But you cannot break the human spirit. As long as one human survives, we will fight back. We will rebuild. We will return. She turned back to them. That is what makes us dangerous. Not our weapons. Not our tactics. Our refusal to accept defeat. The recruits nodded slowly. They understood now. They had learned the most important lesson. Never underestimate humanity. Never assume humans are beaten. Never think the fight is over until every last human is gone. And even then you should be worried. Because humans are very good at survival. After the class, Sarah walked through Earth's capital. People recognized her and waved. Children asked for autographs. She signed them all with patience. One little girl tugged on her uniform. "Miss Chun, are the aliens still mean to us?" Sarah knelt down to the child's level. "No, sweetie. They respect us now. They understand that humans belong among the stars. We proved it." The girl smiled. "Did we win because we're the best?" Sarah shook her head gently. "We won because we never stopped trying, because we believed in ourselves, because we worked together." She touched the girl's nose. "And because humans are very, very stubborn. When someone tells us we cannot do something, we do it anyway, just to prove them wrong." The girl giggled and ran back to her mother. Sarah stood and continued walking. She thought about everything that happened. The mockery, the battle, the victory, the cost. She reached a memorial, a wall with 2,000 names. Every person who died in the battle, every hero who gave their life, so humanity could have a future. She placed her hand on the cold stone. "We did it. We showed them. I hope you are proud." A voice spoke behind her. "They are proud, Commander. We all are." Sarah turned. Marcus stood there. His arm had healed. His smile was still bright. He walked to the memorial and stood beside her. "Do you ever regret it, Commander? The battle, the losses?" Sarah was quiet for a long moment. "Every day, every single day, I think about the people we lost. I wonder if there was another way, a way that would have saved more lives." She looked at Marcus. "But then I remember what we were fighting for. We were fighting for Earth's right to exist as equals. We were fighting so no one could ever mock us again. We were fighting for every human child who will grow up in a galaxy that respects them." Marcus nodded. "Then it was worth it." Sarah smiled sadly. "That is what I tell myself. That is what I have to believe." She looked up at the stars. "The galaxy is watching us now, Marcus, watching to see what humanity does next. Some hope we will be peaceful. Some fear we will be conquerors." She turned to him. "What do you think we will be?" Marcus thought about it. "I think we will be what we have always been. Survivors, explorers, dreamers. We will make mistakes. We will have victories. We will face new challenges. But we will face them as humans. With courage, with determination, with that stubborn refusal to give up that makes us who we are." Sarah laughed. "Well said." She started walking. Marcus walked with her. They moved through the city as the sun set. Earth's sun, the star that gave humanity life. The star that watched humans grow from primitives to space travelers. And now Earth's children walked among the stars as equals. Respected, feared, but most importantly, free. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Never mock humanity. Never threaten Earth. Because humans do not start fights, but they always finish them. And in the darkness of space, on ships from 100 worlds, alien cadets studied human tactics. They learned human history. They tried to understand the species from the death world. Some would become allies. Some would become rivals. But all of them would remember the day 200 human ships defeated 5,000 alien vessels. The day humanity proved it belonged among the stars. The day the galaxy learned to respect Earth. The day everything changed. And on Earth, in homes and schools and military academies, children heard the story. They learned about Commander Sarah Chun, about Marcus and his impossible flight, about Williams and his tactics, about every human who fought, And those children looked up at the stars. They dreamed of the day they too would walk among them. They dreamed of new adventures, new discoveries, new challenges, because that is what humans do. We dream, we explore, we survive. We never stop reaching for the impossible. And now, the entire galaxy knew it. Humanity was here. Humanity was strong. And humanity would never be ignored again. 5 years passed since the battle. Earth grew stronger every day. Human ships patrolled their sector of space. Human technology advanced. Human influence spread across the galaxy. The species that once was mocked now sat at the council table with power and respect. Sarah Chun was now Grand Admiral of Earth's combined fleet. Her hair showed streaks of gray. Her face had new lines from years of responsibility. But her eyes were still sharp, still determined. She stood in her office looking at reports from across the galaxy. Rodriguez entered. He was now her second in command. His uniform carried more medals than before. Admiral Chun, we have a situation. Sarah looked up. What kind of situation? Rodriguez placed a data pad on her desk. 3 days ago, our deep space sensors detected something. A massive fleet. Unknown origin. Unknown species. They are heading toward Council space. Toward Earth. Sarah felt ice in her veins. How many ships? Rodriguez's face was grim. 10,000. Maybe more. They are using technology we have never seen. Ships bigger than the World Breaker. Weapons that make Zrathi firepower look like toys. Sarah stood quickly. Have they made contact? Have they stated their intentions? Rodriguez shook his head. Nothing. Complete silence. They just keep coming. The council is an emergency session. Every species is afraid. He paused. Admiral, they are asking for you. They want Earth to lead the defense. Sarah looked out her window at the Earth below. Blue and green and beautiful. Home to billions. She thought about everything humans had built. Everything they had earned. Now a new threat approached. Bigger than before. More dangerous than before. She turned to Rodriguez. Assemble the fleet. Contact Marcus. Contact Williams. Contact every captain who fought at the Battle of Zrathi. She walked to her desk and pressed a button. Her voice went out to every human military installation. This is Grand Admiral Chun. We face a new enemy. An unknown enemy. They come in numbers we have never faced. She paused. But we are not the same humans who fought 5 years ago. We are stronger. We are smarter. We are ready. All personnel report to battle stations. We defend Earth. We defend the Council. We defend everything we have built. Across Earth, alarms sounded. Ships launched from orbital stations. Crews rushed to their posts. Veterans who had retired returned to service. The entire planet mobilized. Marcus arrived at fleet headquarters within hours. He was older now. A scar crossed his left cheek from another battle, but his smile was still there. Admiral Chun, I heard we have visitors. Sarah smiled despite the situation. Uninvited visitors. The worst kind. She showed him the sensor data. Marcus, I need you to take a scout team. Get close to that fleet. Find out what we're dealing with. But do not engage. Just observe and return. Marcus saluted. Understood, Admiral. When do I leave? Sarah looked at the clock. 1 hour. Take the newest stealth ships. The ones with improved cloaking. And Marcus. She met his eyes. Come back. We need every experienced pilot for what is coming. Marcus nodded. Always do, Admiral. Always do. He left prepare. Sarah turned to Rodriguez. What does the Council want from us? Rodriguez pulled up a hologram. They want you to command a combined defense fleet. Every species is contributing ships. The Zrathi are sending their rebuilt armada. The Velkrin are sending their carriers. Even species that never fight are sending what they have. He highlighted numbers. Total strength, 15,000 ships. The largest fleet ever assembled. Sarah studied the formation. Who is second in command? Rodriguez smiled slightly. You are looking at him, Admiral. Council voted unanimously. Earth commands. Earth decides strategy. Earth leads. Sarah felt the weight of responsibility. 15,000 ships, millions of crew members, hundreds of species, all trusting humanity, all believing that the species from the death world could save them. She thought about the little girl who asked if aliens were still mean. She thought about every human child who deserved a future. She thought about the 2,000 names on the memorial wall. No pressure, she said quietly. Rodriguez put his hand on her shoulder. Admiral, if anyone can do this, it is you. You proved it 5 years ago. Now prove it again. Sarah straightened her uniform. Send word to the council. Tell them Earth accepts command. Tell them to prepare their fleets. Tell them, she paused, tell them that humanity will protect them, just like they should have protected us from the beginning. The council chamber filled with representatives. Every species waited for Sarah's arrival. When she entered, the room fell silent. She walked to the center. Her footsteps echoed. She reached the command platform and looked at the 300 species. 5 years ago, I stood here alone. You laughed at me. You mocked my species. You said we were weak. She let the words hang in the air. Then we showed you what humans really are. Now you ask us to save you, to lead you, to protect you from this new threat. The Velcrin ambassador stood nervously. Admiral Chun, we were wrong. We know that now. We have learned. We have changed. Please, help us. Our worlds are in danger. Our families are afraid. Sarah looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. We will help you, not because you deserve it, but because it is the right thing to do. Because humans protect those who cannot protect themselves, even those who once mocked us. She activated a hologram showing the enemy fleet. This is what we face. Unknown species, superior numbers, advanced technology. By all logic, we should lose. Fear rippled through the chamber. Aliens whispered to each other. Some looked ready to flee. Sarah's voice cut through the panic. But we are not going to lose. We are going to win. And I will tell you why. She pointed at the hologram. This enemy makes the same mistake Dazrathi made. They think numbers equal victory. They think technology equals power. She smiled coldly. They have never fought humans. They have never faced a species that refuses to lose. They have never met Earth. The chamber erupted in applause. Aliens stood and cheered. The species that once laughed now believed, now trusted, now hoped. Sarah raised her hand for silence. Here is what we do. I need every ship ready in 72 hours. I need every captain briefed on human tactics. I need every crew prepared for combat, unlike anything they have experienced. She looked at the council leader. And I need complete authority. No debates. No committees. No politics. When I give an order, it is followed immediately. Can you agree to this? The council leader nodded. You have full authority, Admiral Chun. The fate of the galaxy is in your hands. Sarah felt the weight of those words. She thought about everything that led to this moment. The mockery, the battle, the victory, the 5 years of peace. Now war returned, bigger than before, more dangerous than before. But humanity was ready. Earth was ready. She was ready. Days passed in preparation. Marcus returned from his scout mission. His report was troubling. Admiral, I got close to their fleet, close enough to scan their ships. He pulled up images. Their technology is at least 50 years ahead of anything we have. Their shields are incredible. Their weapons are devastating. And Admiral, he looked at her seriously. They have no weak points that I could find. These ships are built perfectly. Sarah studied the images carefully. Nothing is perfect, Marcus. Everything has a weakness. We just need to find it. But what if we cannot? What if this enemy is truly superior? Sarah met his eyes. Then we adapt. We change. We find a new way to win. That is what humans do, Marcus. We survive. No matter what. Williams entered the room. His hair was completely white now, but his mind was still sharp. Admiral Chun, I have been studying their formation. They move in a pattern I recognize. It is similar to an ancient Earth military strategy. The Roman testudo. Shields overlapping. Perfect defense. Very hard to break. Sarah looked at the pattern. How did armies defeat the testudo? Williams smiled. They did not attack it directly. They used terrain. They used mobility. They forced the formation to break apart. Once it broke, the advantage disappeared. Sarah nodded slowly. So we need to make them break their formation. We need to force them to spread out. She looked at the star charts. Where will they enter council space? Rodriguez pointed to a system. The Kepler Junction. It is the main route to the core worlds. If they come through there, they can reach Earth in 2 days. Sarah studied the junction. It was surrounded by asteroid fields, gas clouds, debris from old battles. Her mind began working, calculating, planning. She looked up at her team. I have an idea. It is dangerous. It will cost lives, but it might work. Marcus grinned. Dangerous is what we do best, Admiral. Sarah pulled up a tactical display. Here's the plan. We do not meet them head on. We let them enter the junction. We hide our fleet in the asteroid fields. When they are halfway through, we strike from all sides. We use the terrain. We break their formation. Then we hit them with everything we have. Rodriguez frowned. Admiral, that means letting them deep into council space. If the plan fails, they reach the core worlds. Sarah nodded grimly. I know, but it is our best chance. Their shields are too strong for a direct assault. We need surprise. We need chaos. We need them off balance. She looked at each person. This is a human way. We do not fight fair. We fight to win. Williams nodded with approval. The council will not like it. They will say it is too risky. Sarah's voice was hard. The council gave me full authority. This is my decision. We do it my way. She activated the communicator. All fleet commanders, report to the Kepler Junction. We have 72 hours to prepare the battlefield. Move out. 15,000 ships began moving. Human vessels led the way. Behind them came Zrathi cruisers, Velkrin carriers, ships from species across the galaxy. The largest fleet ever assembled moved as one toward the junction. Sarah stood on her flagship bridge. She looked at the crew working around her, young and old, veterans and recruits, all trusting her, all believing in her plan. She thought about the enemy fleet approaching, 10,000 ships of unknown power. She thought about Earth behind her, about billions depending on her choices, about the responsibility of command. Rodriguez stood beside her. Admiral, are you certain about this plan? Sarah looked at the stars ahead. No, Rodriguez. I am not certain. She turned to him. But uncertainty never stopped humans before. We face the unknown with courage. We face impossible odds with determination. We do what must be done. She smiled. That is what makes us human. The fleet reached the Kepler Junction. Ships moved into position, hidden among asteroids, concealed in gas clouds, waiting, watching, preparing for battle. Sarah's communicator activated. Admiral, scouts report the enemy fleet has entered our sensor range. They will reach the junction in 6 hours. Sarah took a deep breath. All ships, battle stations. Power down all non-essential systems. Go to silent running. When they enter the junction, no one moves until I give the signal. She paused. And remember, we are fighting for more than ourselves. We fight for every species in the galaxy. We fight for the right to exist. We fight because we are human, and humans never surrender. Across the fleet, crews made final preparations. Pilots checked weapons. Engineers verified systems. Soldiers said prayers. Everyone waited. The enemy fleet appeared on sensors. 10,000 ships moving in perfect formation. Their shields glowed with power. Their weapons charged. They advanced without fear, without caution, like nothing could stop them. Sarah watched them enter the junction. Her hand hovered over the communication button. Her heart pounded. This was the moment. Success or failure. Victory or death. The enemy fleet moved deeper into the junction. Halfway through. Perfect position. Sarah pressed the button. Her voice was ice cold. All ships, attack. Show them what happens when they threaten Earth. Show them the power of humanity. Fire. 15,000 ships open fire at once.